Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Why do I not have all the cameras in there? Hi, welcome to TFYLP. Episode is, for some reason, Phil is not showing up. There we go. All right. Hi, welcome to TFYLP episode 492. I am Lucas. I am joined tonight by Sludge.
It's actually Phil. I was hiding behind Sludge.
And Paul.
Hi.
Where's your Transformer at?
I don't have any.
You don't have any? I mean, I've got a few within arm's reach over here, so come on, Paul. Get with the program.
Paul wholesaled his entire collection over the weekend.
It's gone.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Here.
That is not a transforming figure, is it?
Sure it is. Look. He becomes a gun. That you can shoot.
I was gonna say last week you guys did talk about non-transforming action figures, correct?
We did.
Me,
Anna, and Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have added something to that discussion, but I was driving.
I'm curious to hear your take real quick. If you got a second, 30 seconds.
They're awesome. If you don't like them, you don't understand Transformers.
There you go. Hot take right there.
It's in the name. It's in the name, man.
Yeah,
I think our final conclusion is.
Listen. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think our final conclusion was, non-transforming Transformers can be good, but quite a few of the ones that are out right now are not great.
Sure. You know which one is awesome and everyone should own is this one.
Yes, I agree with that.
And
that is the what is it? The 3A MDLX Bumblebee.
Yeah, I mean this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, I agree. More of that. That's the thing is you get that in, and nothing against Super 7, but I mean just compare it to that, you're like, okay, I'd rather have that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean this is just a fabulous toy. Fabulous.
I would agree with that. So, but tonight we are going to be talking about being overloaded by Transformers because I don't know about you guys. I've just gotten so overloaded with all of the releases that have been coming out recently. I don't even know what to do. I mean, I guess the majority of it's exclusives, but I guess we have is it Wave 3? 2? Can't keep track.
Yeah, Wave 2's out now. I mean, depending on who you are, where you are, how you get them. They're in the United States.
Yeah, so Wave 2 is hitting, and then like every store has a bundle of exclusives that's been coming out lately. So, and then I think Star Saber, if you've ordered that, I think that's coming soon too, right?
At least I'm going to pay for that now.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? I mean, that's how it should always be. I think I personally prefer like prepaying for the toys, but that's me. It's a hard thing to do, but is it not great? I don't know. I think it is. Sounds like Phil and I think so, but Lucas is like aghast.
I mean, I don't know. Like I'd probably rather just wait. I guess it depends on how long it takes for the figure to come out. I mean, obviously it's hard when like all this stuff hits at once. If you haven't prepaid for it, then you're like, oh crap, like, you know, my budget's blown for the month. You know, like Christian tries to do a monthly budget for his Transformers figures, and he always talks about that, like just how hard it is because of the way, you know, it all comes in spurts usually.
Yeah, it does. But I have to say, on this topic, like, there's not really more toys this year than there were last year. It just seems like it because you want them all this year compared to previous ones. Like, there were just as many Netflix toys at Walmart as this. Every that's Walmart cycles. They get a case of deluxes, however many. Usually it was 5 to 4. The Voyagers were there were those. They were $40. They were those those multi-pack things, and then there was the leader, like the mystery pack. Same thing as Velocitron set. It's the exact same thing, except for it's not the multi-packs of Voyagers. The Voyagers are actually just regular Voyagers. So, from a mainline perspective, I guess, there's it's really not too much different. Target has changed their game a little bit. But honestly, it's not. It's maybe like a figure or two more than it was before. 'Cause remember, Rainmaker set was 3 Voyagers, but at this point they've kind of like done a. I think they kind of like take on a gift set of some sort, and then like 1 or 2 other. But they have definitely like added more with their red card exclusives, and the Buzzworthy Bumblebee thing seems to be growing. But that's such a weird line because it kind of covers all imprints. Like there's Cyberverse stuff in it that most people ignore, but it's there.
Studio series stuff in it.
Yeah, it's just kind of all over. It's this weird ooze that can fall over anything that it touches. It's not really set to a.
Is it the stuff
line? I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Well, in the Buzzworthy line, I'm trying to think, have they all essentially been repaints? Or do they have ones where there's like new molds?
Oh, Lucas, your memory is so short. Don't you remember the G1 More Than Meets the Eye Bumblebee that was its own mold? You already forgot, didn't you?
Oh,
you already forgot.
I'm sorry.
Best toy ever made. You already forgot.
I don't know about that, but sure.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, there's, I think Target's where they have been expanding like what they sell in the main line. So there has been some creep, but like look at Amazon, like they don't have necessarily a pattern, but they have a theme, like a set that you can buy. Right. And they really, I think they kind of missed the mark a little bit with the Wrecker set. That should be something every Transformers fan wants, and it's kind of like a total pass if you don't need any of that stuff.
I mean, I don't know. It's been like better for me than what I thought it was going to be on some of those figures. And then I actually ended up canceling the Impactor one, but then I hear from the people that have got them that it's a really good figure and that they like it. So
they did more remolding on that than I think most folks anticipated. It's not just the head, but it's a whole different chest, and the different colorization, the different gold and purple that they used really separated out from the other 2 versions of that mold. So I mean, to me, it's almost one of those things that if I didn't have a version of that mold already, I'd be pretty attracted to this Wrecker set version. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. And then you get a weird dinosaur bone to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and a lot of the people that I've talked to, actually, that's what they want it for. that they're not as interested in Pactor because obviously we, all have, well, not all of us, but whatever, like a fair amount of people already have that mold, so one way or another.
Well, I mean, when your sample size is Anna, yeah, they all want the weird dinosaur bone guy. So
I'm telling you, yeah, Phil.
I also wanted the weird dinosaur bone guy and sold my impactor.
Yep. And Christian was the same way too, so there you go.
Okay, so your microcaster bubble.
I realize again that the sample size of TFYLP should not be like we're not the main public or whatever. So
I would say we have a good mix though. We have like extreme, like just talk about and this is not the topic, but like just like our cast and their collecting habits runs the gamut. We almost have no one like right in the middle. Which might be you, Lucas, but like we have extremophiles on both sides, like the stuff that you think no one want, and then the people that just get everything. And I don't know. I think we have actually a pretty well-rounded opinion. If you actually sample everybody at once.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I get pretty much everything of the main line, so I'm not a good one to pull for that. And the only reason I don't get everything is because I've specifically limited myself to stop buying that other stuff. I have bought and sold it all, so.
Well, I would just say our hive mind almost doesn't exist because there's always someone that's going to say no when someone says yes, and that's kind of a fun place to be. So
it's funny when I look at online forums for some of the smaller 80s lines like Dino Riders and Mask, and someone will be like, hey, this is a really good toy. And other people will be like, yeah, I agree. It totally is. Yeah, super awesome toy. Yeah, no, that's a great one. One of my favorites. There's like so few toys that there's very little dissension of what's good and what's bad.
It's like that meme with the buff dudes on the computer, like writing to each other. Like, oh, that is a great toy. Like the Chad, super positive Chad talk.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think in general, it almost you're almost less satisfied sometimes with the amount of like, for example, the amount of RCs that have come out, right? Whereas like if I only got one RC, I'd be like, sweet, I've got an RC, I've got my representation. Whereas now that there's like 4, 5, 6 different versions, you can sit there and nitpick and say, oh man, if only this version was just a little bit better and that version was a little bit better and whatever.
Isn't that wild though that there's that many RCs like to choose from? It's just like ridiculous.
Well, we also just had a discussion of how many different impactors there are.
Yeah.
And which version of impactor, is your preferred one.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's really cool overall that like we're getting a lot more female representation in Transformers, and that is really cool. Like I feel like almost every single like wave, or at least every line, has like a female character in it one way or another, and that's a cool mix of where you're just used to always getting the same old.
But it's not that cool when it's all the same female character, all at once. I mean, I still think it's like amazing that there's 3 RCs coming out at the same time, and they're all, they're of different flavors for sure. I'd say they're all very much their own toy, but maybe that is like not what we should be striving for. Like maybe like what you're saying, if there was just one RC every 5 years or something, that would be almost better. Because you have like more time in between, and like maybe the fact that there's 3 of this one particular character is indicative that there's too much product, or like they're.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily know that it needs to be every like 5 years, but it's one of those things where like just recently there's like 4 different RCs on the shelf. I mean, you can almost like kind of pick out the different molds or like, you know, maybe every couple months. Whereas, and the same could be said for, you know, some of the other characters as well. Like you said, Impactor. I know like a lot of the Siege and Earthrise stuff was kind of the same way. So it's, you know, like that is one thing I do enjoy about the Legacy line and some of the exclusives there is that they are kind of picking from different universes, even if it's a little bit different. So, you know, it's not all like, oh, you know, yay, another G1, you know, pick your character, you know.
I just feel like RC as a character has now been elevated to like Shockwave level status, whereas for a long time she was, you know, she was in the movie. She never got a toy from the movie, and it took us to the Transformers Cybertron line to get a toy of her. And you know, I think Hasbro just finally realized, oh wait, this is a popular character that people like. We're going to make more toys of her, and you know, Alita 1's popping up a lot more now. You know, she's been in, you know, the Netflix show. She'll be in the new, you know, Earth Spark show. So she's getting more prominence as well. So it's, you know, yeah. I mean,
at least
trying to diversify.
At least she's like drastically different in every iteration we get of her. You know, like she was buffs. She was the buff jet girl.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, Alita 1. No one really cared because it was weird. And then, yeah, I think the Netflix toy is, like, so far the best Alita 1 yet. But now there's a Legacy toy. Now she's definitely getting an Earthspark figure. You know, like, that's, like, a lot of Alita 1 to digest. So let me pitch this to you. Like, I'm not saying we need less Alita 1. Like, that's cool as hell that she's finally a thing. But, like, what if suddenly in the next 4 toy lines in the next 4 years we had a G-Axis? Because like it's like the seal's been broken. We got this amazing G-Axis. It's taken 35 years to get here, and now it's G-Axis crazy. Like that you know, like no. But that's what's essentially happened with the figures where the characters we're talking about.
Well, you've had a little bit of that with some the waves of the cool new characters. So you had Drift. You know, Drift was big and then was in the movie and was all over the place. And then Cyberverse and then Windblade was all over the place. And at least with those two characters, they've faded away a little bit. I honestly would like to see another Drift toy. Not that the first one's bad. The first one's pretty darn great, but maybe a Cybertronian version of Drift. So, yeah, and you know, Windblade is another one I wouldn't mind seeing different takes on it because it's all kind of the same, you know, look and alt mode and all that.
Yeah, the time has passed, so it's like, yeah, I think people are starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, what happened to Drift?
Mm-hmm.
You're not the first person to say that I've heard in like the past year. Like, we need a new Drift toy, don't we?
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear that
on
much.
Lockdown too.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
shut.
You know, one thing I've noticed in the past, it seems like if a character was in a particular toy line, like Cyberverse or whatever it may be, that they would hold off from releasing that same toy in Generations and Studio Series. Like, it seemed like that they like made an effort to like not release those same. And I feel like now they're just like, whatever, who cares? But at the same time, I feel like part of that is that they've had no problem selling figures. Like whatever they're doing right now, it seems like it's working pretty well. And so I think I think a lot of the old rules that they used to say, they're like, oh, you know, that female characters aren't going to sell, or, you know, the like whatever, this, that, and whatever is not going to sell. And I don't know if it's just with their strategy, you know, that they're not making as many individual figures as before, so they just don't care because they're all getting snapped up.
Yeah, I remember in the 90s, you know, going and hunt down Spawn Angela figures because, oh, it's a you know, girl toy. We're only going to put one per case because girl toys don't sell. And then, of course, there were all the crazy variants of that one, which we won't get into. But, yeah, it has come a long way when you look at the new Velocitron set, where there are 2 females in the deluxes, and they are not the short packed ones in that set.
Well, you kind of have to know, like, I don't think not everyone buying those toys knows that's not a male robot or whatever. Not that I don't know. You're right. Yeah, those are female characters, but there's no bio on the back to tell you. Like, you have to go do some DLC hunt down to figure that out. Instead, you might just have a cool black van.
But I think the other thing too
hatchback.
is that
the hatchback.
They're much more likely to be targeting those collectors versus kids too. I think that's the other thing too. Is like, I mean, I'm sure there are kids that buy, some of these figures, but I'd say that a bigger and bigger chunk of the market is those older collectors and people that are of working age.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, yeah, I remember back in the BotCon days when, like, this is during Aaron Archer's tenure. I mean, he stated at one of the panels that, yeah, if, this is when animated was out, because we had animated classics, movie stuff just started, and they kind of were like, yeah, if this character's in line A, we won't release one in line B, and that's kind of what you were alluding to, right?
Right.
I would agree that, yeah, that was probably a long-term strategy, and I think it was pretty sound, honestly. But I think long-term is a phrase that doesn't exist in any toy marketing discussion anymore. It's probably just like, what can we do now to bring in money, and then worry about tomorrow. And that's probably indicative of why we're seeing what we see.
Well, I think it kind of comes back to like what I was discussing with RC being a Shockwave level character now. You have characters that obviously Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee, Starscream, Soundwave, Shockwave, RC. I'm sure there's a few others I can't think of off the top of my head that are of these, they are the kind of core character sets for Transformers. And they're probably going to get a figure in just about every line that's done, because those are the most sort of identifiable. Hot Rod, / Rodimus in there too. So, you'll probably see one of those characters in just about every single toy line, if not multiples.
This is pretty much like the flagship Transformer character box.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Would you can you set a little debate for me just on this topic quick? Would you consider Cosmos a main character? Would you?
No, he's not.
That's the right answer.
Yeah. He's not.
I mean, it's hard to say, because I wouldn't say he's definitely not a main character, but he's like a C+, B-.
Bullshit! He is a D or an E. You know what his biggest claim to fame is? Is that they actually put him on one of the bumpers of the in between commercials. Yeah, well, like if he didn't have that, he'd be a few steps lower.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like all the mini bots just hold a special place in all of our hearts, because that's what you bought. Like when you're a kid, and you're bugging your parents for a toy, like that's what you got. You know what I mean? You didn't get Optimus Prime when you went to the store. You got
listen,
Cosmos.
Cosmos and Wind Charger are like neck and neck for like least important character ever. So like I don't know.
Oh, come on. There's
okay, Cosmos.
I would put anything like the majority of season 4 characters are like all below Cosmos.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, and anyone from 85 and 86 is going to get a higher ranking.
Right.
I just had a debate. Some guy was like crying about. Obviously, the Cosmos discussion is overpowering every discussion in Transformers right now. And some guy's like, "How dare they short pack a main character like Cosmos?" And I was like, "Bro, what?" So
Maybe they were being sarcastic.
no, they were being
Okay.
very man baby.
I would make a bigger argument about the fact that they did was it Ironhide and Prowl was it like in that set from Amazon last year and as an exclusive. I would say that was like I disagree with that more, and even though like whatever we've had other iterations of those characters that come out in mainline, but yeah, like I don't know, like and the Coneheads that was another one that was a little bit frustrating too because what they did one figure in the main line and the other two were exclusives. Is that right?
Well, Lucas, I'm
No,
going to
they're
stop
all
you right there.
exclusives.
The debate here is not over the integrity of business decisions here. It's is the character a main character? Is he in the box? Ironhide, Prowl, main characters. Done.
Oh, there you go.
No, as a retailer, you want your exclusives to be main characters. You don't want Master Dominus. You want frickin' Whirl. You want Roadbuster. You want like the Wreckers and not the Wreckage. So, I have no problem with cool characters being exclusives, man. I mean, I think that's if you were making the decision on what you wanted to buy and sell, you would want those. I think Walmart did not realize what they had. They had lightning in a bottle. They could have sold 15,000 Cosmoses, but instead they're going to sell 2,000 because that's all they got. Because they were like, "What's this UFO? What is this green thing? That's not a car."
I would almost argue that it's better for Walmart to short pack Cosmos, and the reason is because if there was a bunch of Cosmos on the shelf, I go to Walmart one time and I pick my Cosmos up and I buy them, right? Whereas if he's short packed, I have to go to like 10 different Walmarts or whatever it may be. And at the same time, like I'm, staring at the same stuff, like whatever, buying groceries, doing whatever. Like I feel like I would have increased my trips to Walmart by Cosmos being short pack.
Let's break this argument down. So you're saying by going to multiple Walmarts on a toy hunt, are you gonna buy something at every one of those Walmarts if the toy you're looking for isn't there?
No, but I'm more likely to buy other things at Walmart. But, like, I don't know. This
but
happens...
at one of those 10 Walmarts, right? Or are you gonna buy like, well, I'll get some bananas at this one and some soup at the next one, and some lettuce at the third one.
If you can't find it, then you're going to Walmart more often, and you're like, oh, honey, like I'm sorry, I forgot. Like lunch meat, like I'm gonna have to go to Walmart again and get some lunch meat.
But did you really forget lunch meat, or are you lying to your wife and you're going in there to find a toy, and if you don't find it, you leave?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like somehow subconsciously forgetting items on the shopping list just so I can go back.
Listen, Paul, most Walmarts are like 25 minutes apart. That is plenty of time to finish a bottle of Mountain Dew and to need to get a new one when you hit up the next store.
I've bought a few Red Bulls at different Walmarts, so you're not wrong. I'm just like, I don't think Walmart's strategy is like, let's get people to go to multiple stores in one trip and make more money. Like that's not how it works.
I
okay. Anyways, we're getting off base a little bit, I think.
Wait. Isn't this pretty much like what we always do?
Yeah, I guess there's not really a topic here.
Well, we also always have the discussion that we get off base, and we always get off base. So not only are we repeating ourselves, but we're repeating our commentary about how we are repeating ourselves. It's meta.
Well, so I don't even know, like, as far as the Transformers Overload, comment and topic, I guess it's probably impossible for retailers to really line up a lot of their exclusives and all that. And a lot of times they're doing it based on the resets, I guess, right? is like when these things come in. But darn, I mean, it just seems crazy that, like it's just really, like it almost feels like it can be too much, like and obviously you could be a normal person and not buy everything, but yeah, for those people that aren't.
Well, if you go ahead.
I think the solution here, and this is whether we're talking about Walmart or Target or Amazon or Hasbro themselves, is they just need to check with me first. Like, what time are they doing their announcements? How much things are going to cost? How much toys they're going to put out at what time? And what characters they're going to do? Just check with me first, and then we'll be okay. Clear my schedule first, and then then I'll watch your live stream on Pulse.
Holy shit! I just saw in the chat someone mentioned there's a new MP that got revealed today. Is this
Oh, really?
Or not revealed, but like there's a listing on BBTS for a Masterpiece Burnout, which is one of the figures from what's it called? Speedy V. Yeah, Speedy V. I'm gonna call it that from now on. Yeah, that's crazy. MP53 plus B Gaia Burnout. Should probably who was that? That was
Ron.
Ron. It was Ron with the banger.
Oh, and he said MPM Starscream repaint is up too.
Yeah, the masterpiece one. I mean, I like they have no info, so it's just a blue logo. Okay, it's cool. Didn't know that. Before. Year of the Black repaint, baby. We got Dark Amber, Leo Prime, and Dia Burnout. Sorry to derail us there because I totally forgot where we were going. I had a question though, like to maybe keep us on topic. Like if there's too much, which even though I started this off saying there's the same amount as last year, I'm just talking mainline. But there's a lot of every year the brand expands. It has for for many years. Now we got a new movie coming, so it's gonna bulge again. But like, what could we? What should like retail? What should end? What should not be here anymore to narrow us back a little bit to like just the best stuff?
Well, I mean, I think that the number of exclusives, I feel like that there's, and again, I guess that waxes and wanes as well. That there's been periods where they've had a ton, and then like they've kind of cut back, and so that's where I kind of feel like the regular retail releases, like those are pretty consistent. But I do feel like the exclusives in general, that the amount of them is really increased. And I could be completely wrong on that, but I guess it just go to TF Wiki and like look at year by year and line by line. But
it's definitely increased, but we haven't had they pulled back a little bit on the Generation Selects. And it makes me wonder if like the Gen Select stuff is just the fallback if retailers don't bite on stuff now.
Yeah, toy colored pterosaur screams Gen Select kind of figure. And it's a Target exclusive.
It has no place in the buzzworthy Bumblebee line, but
yeah, I mean everyone knows about pterosaur and bumblebees, just lifelong hatred of each other.
Romantic relationship.
I mean, they are the will they won't they of Transformers universe. They are the Jim and Pam of Transformers fandom. Yeah. What did we say last year at the end of 2021 going into 2022 we were likely to see a lot of, and why?
Masks.
There's no movie coming out, so we're going to get a lot of repaints.
I seem to recall that, yeah.
Yeah.
And what are we getting?
Rizzle Pizzles. Redecos, honestly. These are not straight repaints.
And I think maybe some of where this feels like we're getting a lot more could possibly be the delays from 2021, where if you look at the Golden Disc collection from Amazon, I feel like we just like the Wreckers feel like they're right on top of the Golden Disc collection because, yeah, some of those toys we didn't get until 2022. But my assumption is they were probably meant to come out a lot earlier, but just, everything got, messed up. So in terms of shipping schedules, so that might make this year feel like it is a more abundant year.
Well, that could be true as well. I know a lot of these toys were estimated to come out later than what they were, and then they're just showing up now. So, like that could be part of it. That they kind of almost planned on it coming later in the fall.
Well, I think the schedules were made when they still were dealing with crazy delays, and like the world has healed slightly, and so it's like, well, it's early, so what? Like, big deal. That's better than it being late for sure. Because things were late for like a good 6 months, and then they readjusted schedules when they had to decide when stuff was coming out. They're like, buffer it by 4 months, and now they're back on like a regular schedule, I think. So we're just, we're getting out of the woods.
Are we going to get a lot of figures coming out around Christmas time as well? I mean, it's normally a schedule. It's like now and then Christmas time. So are we going to see a ton of exclusives then as well, do we think? Or
I don't think so. I mean, they all do kind of come out in the summer,
Well, this is a big push because you've got kids going back to school shopping. So the stores want their toy sections packed for when the kids go buy a backpack. It's like, well, let's go, drag mom over to the toy section and, pick out a new Bakugan. What are the hot new Bakugans of the day? And then, maybe they'll pick up a red pterosaur. Red and green pterosaur.
Hopefully not at $31.99, like I did.
Yeah, are you talking about pterosaur or red cog?
Pterosaur.
Oof.
Yeah. Before it was on the website, that was the in-store price.
Oh,
which makes sense because it was matching what red cog is.
Yeah, but red cog comes with a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
If you weigh red cog, he has a higher mass than pterosaur.
Oh yeah. Like a real black hole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, my guess is we'll probably see like wave 3 hitting either right before or right after Christmas time.
Well, it's supposed to come out in October. That's the shipping schedule.
Okay.
But
then whatever, probably what we see revealed at PulseCon will be what we get around Christmas time.
Yeah, I mean they've already revealed. And when we say Wave 3, I usually just stick with the deluxes. I guess they've shown the Voyage. They've shown pretty much everything. And I can tell you this: there's been some adjustments to the products and the shipping schedule, similar to what happened either last year or 2 years ago. And it seems like the 4th wave with like breakdown, obviously in it, has been adjusted, and it will be in January. And it will kind of, instead of being part of like first year legacy, it's going to bleed into weight. It's going to be similar to what happened at the end of Kingdom, where like they split the wave with the new figures. It was originally supposed to be a wave 4 that included Slammer and Pipes, and I forget who else right now, but they had to Wingfinger and some other character. Yeah, that's right. Those 4 were supposed to be together, and then they split that and like repacked some stuff. And then Blaster showed up in Kingdom, which was like unexpected. Starscream got cut, and they added Hot Rod to the core class. And, all that stuff was meant to be legacy. So there were leaks of Cheetor and Wheeljack being repackaged in Legacy, and Twin Cast being like a later wave Voyager. I'm not sure if any of that is actually still happening. It could, but it's a little misty. I think, like I'm just telling you, I think they've readjusted some things. It tends to happen end of line.
Yeah, I am kind of surprised that we haven't seen a twin cast anywhere. You would think. I mean, I guess we still have Shattered Glass Blaster coming out, but
Yeah, there was a leak, like a Walmart listing or something for it. So I mean, usually when that happens, it's coming out, but sometimes they keep the product code and change what it actually is. So like the listing will change. Like there's people saying they're going to release Legacy Straxus, which is actually the way too early previs name for the Transmetal Megatron. So like different stores get info at different times, put it in their systems, and then it gets outdated.
And speaking of Walmart, Paul, you asked earlier what are some things that we kind of would do without. The Walmart reissues are, I mean they're kind of bottom of the barrel. Some of these Beast War ones they're doing right now.
Yeah, that shit's got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, the G1 reissues were cool. I mean, it's cool if they did reissue some Beast Wars stuff, but like, I bet they wish they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, but that same line, those vintage reissues, that's probably where you would see like Unicron trilogy stuff get reissued as well. So I don't know if I would say I wish they would move on from Beast Wars, I guess it's saying. I just don't have an affinity to that stuff personally.
But Armada Sideways, you are all about that, dude.
Oh yeah, give it to me. Mm-hmm. Wait, Armada you mean Sideswipe?
Armada Sideswipe, I'm sorry, yeah.
Well, if they released him in like bright red, maybe then he'd be a G1 homage, but I don't know.
It's going to be blue and yellow.
Tuesday next week.
Oh, I never know when they're doing that. That's just like.
No, the next thing we have is the Wednesday. They got a Marvel Legends reveal.
Ron was saying next Tuesday is supposed to be the day 3, or the day that Wave 3 Legacy alt modes will get revealed, and possibly the last Shattered Glass figure.
Ron, I'd like to bring you on as a special guest and ask you where the hell did that info come from? Because they said they were going to do that at Hasball's Con. So,
which is what, in October, right? Is PulseCon?
No, I thought September.
Is it September? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they gave us the robot modes, and I think that's one of it's SDCC, and they said they're going to show the other ones at PulseCon. Except Japan is showing us some of the alt modes early anyway, so that's nice. Okay, so Ron and I are fighting now over what they said at SDCC.
Get him, Paul!
There we go. Apparently, we need to pull the panel up, right?
Yeah, let's watch it. Let's do a live review.
There you
Who
go.
cares?
They'll show us that copyright strike on that, right?
Yeah, we'll get that info sooner or later. I mean, they're obviously not going to not show us the alt modes.
No, just wait for Prime v Prime or Chefitron or whoever to show it off.
Yep. Might as well see it.
It's like
what do you think of
the Ratchet, not Ratchet, I'm sorry, Ironhide, the Studio Series Voyager Ironhide that we all been talking about. It's like not officially revealed at all, right? It's just been, but there's reviews up.
Yep. What do you think? What's your take on that? There's been some contention on that figure.
Giving it a thumbs down from what I've seen.
Oh, I like it. It makes me it makes me not like the Earthrise one, honestly. Like I like the Siege one, but this one, this new one coming out, I like the engineering a lot better, and the figure overall. So
I don't like those blue tabs on its top. I don't know, the robot's proportions look funky to me. I'll take this the two War for Cybertron versions over this one, just because I don't feel like those versions are designed to totally mimic something from the screen, and I don't think this guy mimics. I don't think the new Studio Series mimics the cartoon Ironhide that well.
I think it's definitely the best Ironhide toy of all time, and I wish that it was actually a Voyager. Just yeah, I get it. It's like it's got a super high parts count. It's one of those things where like it's not the size that makes it the price point; it's the engineering. But we've never had like a G1 Voyager Ironhide, and it would have been cool to get one. I mean, I guess he is. I'm not saying he's not Voyager. He's just I expected him to be a little bigger. That's the only thing that just surprised me that when you see the side by side, I was like, well, you're never gonna be able to win an argument with some dumbass that's trying to say, yeah, it's a deluxe. It's too expensive as a deluxe. It's like,
well,
okay.
I mean, the Ironhide Deluxe was a pretty large figure and it was pretty hollow. As far as like all the back and whatever, and so they took care of a lot of that stuff. I think the only thing, like, there's a few cost-cutting measures on the figure that are somewhat annoying, like the hollow fist is one of the things. And I wish it had more accessories, but I don't know. The engineering looks neat, so I don't know. Again, like, you don't have to buy it if you don't want it. You can just skip it.
And I'd agree with you, Phil. It's not like as Studio Series 86 as I would have hoped.
Yeah, I mean they really nailed it out of the park with Hot Rod, with one of those first releases, and so like compare this guy to what we've gotten before, it's a little lackluster. So it's what we kind of talked about a few weeks ago, that they've set the bar quite high for themselves. So when they don't achieve it as well, I kind of hold their feet to the fire a bit. And then for me, a scale thing with Ironhide, I feel like in my mind, kind of how the MPs did it is how I sort of view Ironhide and Ratchet comparing to a lot of the Carbots like Sideswipe and Wheeljack and those dudes.
I still think regardless of that, this will be like everybody's quintessential Ironhide for many, 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 many years. So everyone can bitch all they want. This is going to be one of those figures like, they're rummaging through bins at BotCon looking for this guy because they were stuck with the Siege version, and everyone that spent a mint trying to get the Earthrise one, like, that's why you don't do that. That's why you're not supposed to.
I was gonna put my kid through college on that toy.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. There's always gonna be a new version, especially like the main characters too. So
yeah, there is. It's at this point it's a given. So like, don't spend $200 for 2 years of looking at something that you replace. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, you just spend the 2 years without it, and then get the better one for $20, $30, $33 in this case. Well, what else could we get rid of? The reissues, I definitely agree with you, Phil. Like, as they exist currently, yeah, I could bite all that. That stuff could all go. I would say the Super 7 stuff, I mean, a lot of the third party, the official, let's call it second party, the licensed material, some of that could go. Like, I don't think it's not the reaction. What are the new ones, Phil, that you have, the Bonsaitron?
Ultimates.
That's Super 7, but that's Ultimates.
Yeah, Super 7 Ultimates, yeah.
Yeah, I think that stuff could definitely go. And I don't think that's like required buying for most collectors. It's sort of like extra. I mean, maybe the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line, like,
yeah, right.
Please, no.
I mean, I'll tell you, the ones I skipped entirely was that wave of 3 legacy Walmart exclusives. Sandstorm and Buzzsaw, and I forget the Cheetor Redeco's name. But yeah, I skipped all 3 of those, and no qualms about that whatsoever. Especially after getting that Buzzworthy 4-pack where you got 2 of those molds. And in my opinion, much better coloring.
Yep.
I mean,
and more accessories.
you could say that cut out the Red series, but it seems like that's probably winding down, or it seems like it's winding down.
I think most people would want to do that. I wouldn't, but I guess if if things have to get cut, that could probably go. But here we are, we're nixing all the non-transforming stuff.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Studio Series toys now that they've gotten through. I think are there any more characters from the Bumblebee movie they haven't done that they're missing? So that well has been tapped pretty dry. So I'm sure they're going to be gearing up for Rise of the Best pretty soon with that wave. So we might be just getting some of the stragglers from the Bayverse movies and the '86 guys in the Studio Series. So that'll be one area that I don't really buy the Bayverse Studio Series toys, but I did get the Bumblebee movie one. So that's an area that has expanded some of my purchasing recently that'll slow down.
Well, I think the Studio Series line is about to get pretty more diverse. It depends if you said you don't get the Bayverse stuff. I mean, the Bumblebee movie is Bayverse, so you do buy.
Well,
Bayverse
the Bay
stuff.
directed.
Draw
just,
your line.
Yeah, just as long as he can be an executive producer, just as long as he's not the director.
Hey, I mean, it is a clear distinction.
Sure, you're right. I like it. The Bay directed Studio Series figures. Well, there's going to be obviously. I'd say a lot of people would separate like the Bay directed figures from the non-Bay directed figures, and we're going to get more non-Bay directed figures in the near future. Obviously, we have '86, and there's rumblings of like even different stuff we might be getting in there. Like Studio Series might have less and less to do with movies than it might just be like something you saw on screen somewhere. That's pretty much what it means now.
So are you saying we're going to get a Studio Series transforming Heinz ketchup bottle that transforms into a spaceship?
Did that happen?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a mail away exclusive. It wasn't a transformer, but it was a mail away exclusive, and the actual toy that you got looked significantly different than the Heinz ketchup fighter jets space fighter that you saw in the commercial.
Weird. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, it might happen. But like, if they redid, like, I could see animated. If animated was gonna get like a redo or any sort of like love, it could appear as like Studio Series thing because it was so cartoon. It was so like created as media or something.
I guess I just feel like most of those toys were spot on. I could do with a new Optimus Prime, just with a little bit better articulation from animated, but he's in the minority in terms of that line because they all looked, spitting image that they can look off the screen.
Well, the thing for me is I feel like the animated, if they put that back on Netflix or whatever, like I know again my kid, they'll watch shows on Netflix and then want a toy from it. So, like, that's where they really need to do that. So, I could, the fact that animated is, I don't know, it's between 15, 20 years old now at this point.
Oh, that makes me feel like an old man, which I am. But
like if they're gonna do Prime stuff, like didn't they want like Emmys and stuff for that show? Like they have a lot of Hasbro like has pride with Prime. Like if you were going to make some
primetime Emmys,
probably not.
Oh, okay,
I think they were children's Emmys.
Okay.
Well, like if you were, they have done some Prime figures in Legacy, but they're not screen accurate at all. It's a different sort of interpretation. But if you were going to get that like screen accurate stuff, maybe they put it in Studio Series. Because they've been vague on how they define it. So, who the heck knows?
I could do with a new smoke screen from the Prime line. His toy was decent, but a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Are you scratching your butt while we're
Scratching
recording?
my ankle. I have a ton of mosquito bites from sitting on my deck the past few days. Well, here we are talking about more new toys, and goes against the.
We're getting too many toys. Hey, what are the new toys you want to see?
This is pretty much the thing. Like Paul.
We are broken human beings. We've alluded to it before, but just straight out, we are
can you give me
broken
some
humans.
more of these, some more of this, plastic crack we got going on here?
Give me more Star Screams, please.
I need it to live.
Yeah. Hey, I did get to see the Starscream Vault though, so I felt pretty privileged there, Paul.
Oh, that's right.
I've not even seen that.
That's
myself.
right. You did. That seems like a million years ago already.
So, yep. So
I've gotten to see
location.
Collecticon Mothership, but
well, there's nothing good there.
But,
yeah, like Lucas almost got crushed by a mountain of these sitting in a back room.
were they graded?
Oh yes.
Oh, nice.
Oh yes. Speaking of which, I'm making a new purchase.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, something ouch-worthy.
Oh,
Yeah, we haven't had an ouch for a while, right? So there you go.
It's been hard.
I feel like ouchworthy is what my mailman says about his back with all the deliveries I've been getting.
Yeah. So I think I've gotten through opening most of mine, but have you guys actually opened all the recent stuff that's been dropped off or no?
I was out of town this weekend, so I haven't been able to open the most recent Wrecker set with the G2 guy and the Mammoth skeleton, and I haven't been able to open my Red Cog, but been keeping up pretty well beyond that. Have I been able to spend time with all these toys and really kind of, pardon me, enjoy them? Nah, they kind of get played with for like 5 days and then thrown in a pile, and eventually that pile gets moved to a bin.
That's not good.
No. And then I see him again, and I'm like, oh wait, I didn't spend a lot of time with this guy. This guy's awesome. Why haven't I played with this toy that much? With this girl, freaking love this Studio Series RC toy. Although her arm joints don't rotate for me on either arm, so I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if I gotta freeze it or heat it or just I don't know what's going on there. So yeah,
I got one I really want to open, but
just pull a Rick and cut it open loudly on camera.
Just can't bring myself to do it.
Oh, there you go.
So pretty. So
that's the only thing with the Velocitron stuff is a lot of those have been, repaints. So I was excited to check out the Cosmos because that's a new mold, but a lot of the other ones I'm like, oh, cool. I will say though, I really do like the packaging from Velocitron. The fact that they package that in alt mode, and I hope they keep that up. I think that with the new boxes and the way they do the windows and everything, that it makes a lot more sense to package them in alt mode.
I have a small gripe with the Velocitron packaging, and I don't have any of the Velocitron toys, but my gripe is that they're the same color scheme as some of the He-Man toys that are on the shelf right now from the new cartoon. So it was like, oh, those are some Velocitron toys. No, that's a Skeletor. That's a Skeletor. I don't know. It's cool looking Skeletor, but that's not what I came here for.
Dude, I hear you. I was going to my closest to me Walmart the other day, and I was getting to the toy aisle, and I hadn't turned the corner to the aisle, but I saw on the top of the shelf, I was like, oh man, they have road haulers, and it was like Snake Mountain or some shit. Yeah. I was like, ah.
Yeah, exactly, because you get you get that hope. You're like, yeah. Oh, that letdown.
There was one road hauler there, so
yeah,
I did get it.
Yeah, I have not spotted any in my trips. So
it's really, really hit or miss. The only time that I've really had luck is when they're sitting on the pallet in the middle of the floor and you have to take it off the pallet. So,
Yeah, I got reprimanded for trying to move things around on the pallet.
I must take you. I must take you under my wing someday.
I know.
Poor
But there's things inside the pallet that you can't see because they're like,
you gotta let that go. You can't go digging, looking. You gotta just scan, and what you see is what you see, and you gotta like do the thing where you obviously don't even realize there's a toy pallet there, but you're wearing sunglasses, so you're like and looking, and then you go into the aisle opposite of it, and you back up, and you scan it like this.
you do your Terminator vision,
Pretty much, yeah. And then you can't see the other side, so you got to go around. And as you're doing it, you look at the front. Because there's 4 sides to a square,
You're like standing there by like, women's bathing suits, because that's the next section over.
It's usually Home Goods or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, paint. Carpet. And here's the trick. You don't ask, because that gives them the chance to say no. And you're not going to take no for an answer. So you just take it. Seats taken.
You're like, let me help you with that pallet. You won't even have to take it out of the case there. I'll just take that whole case.
Like, lady, you don't even got to scan it into the system.
Like, my whole thought is like, if you don't want people messing with it, don't put it on the store floor.
Do it after hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't want sharks, don't put chum in the water, people. That's what you do.
Oh, there you go. Paul's the reason why nobody's getting their Cosmos, right?
Yeah, of course. So what's this guy? Rickham 220. You got to do the slow walk by and make sure to know what the Hasbro boxes look like. Correct. For instance, the Black Band of Heaven. Toys with Hasbro logo. That's your first indication that it's a Hasbro box. Band goes all the way around. And sometimes they even tell you what's on the box. So, look for that. Like the purple ones are always Mattel or something. Like they have there's branding on the box.
Yeah.
So that's how you know.
There you go. Well, it's easier now, like, that it's only Transformers. I feel like it's kind of hard, like, when it's Christmas time and there's 1,000 toys getting, they've got, like, 3 pallets of toys that they're trying to restock.
Like, that's how it was at the Walmart I was at. They had 5 pallets. So
So they were probably there. They had to be.
Yeah.
But you think they were just like in the center, like
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So,
can't.
I know Sergio was there like a few days later and found Road Hauler.
See, Phil, this is why you need to have your second job as, working at a Walmart and a Target, in an
Phil,
warehouse.
If I'm ever working at a Walmart, just please someone find me and put me out of my misery.
Well, Phil, here's to make you feel a little better. What I have found in my past week of looking for this stuff, and it sounds like I'm an expert at this. I went on a cross states trip, so I got a chance to hit some Walmarts. All right, the ones that have Road Hauler don't seem to have anything else, and the ones that have the deluxes seem to have Override. And they're solid packed Voyagers, so you still might have a chance with the deluxes if you.
I got them on order. I'm not. I'm not going to be crying too much if I can't find them sooner than later. And yeah, it's just
a little bit then, not too much.
Crying.
Oh
yeah, yes, I'll be crying just a little bit. And that's a normal thing for me.
Me too.
Yeah, see, I still haven't seen any of those Voyagers in stores, or that leader you're showing off there, Paul.
Well, that was a tasty treat that I found. I had to go to a different state, and there it was, just sitting there on the top of everything else.
I was in a different state this weekend, and felt it would be a little rude for me to ask my friends to pull over so I can go hunt for toys.
It's a healthy decision, I would say.
That, and we probably would have died walking from the car, in the parking lot to the store because it was 104 degrees.
Kill me now.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we're all doomed because there's just too many toys. We're going to drown in them all together in one big whirlpool.
Learn to swim. Learn to swim.
In California Bay. I think it's going to get worse. I think with the movie, there's going to be a whole new movie line, and there's going to be Earthspark, and there's going to be Studio Series, and there's going to be Generations.
Well, see, that's fine for me because I don't collect all that stuff. So really, it's really more of a problem for other people.
And there's that stupid $70 RC robot Optimus Prime at Target.
You mean my Robeson?
Like your Funko HasLab Unicron?
Yeah. I'm with Lucas. I don't collect most of that stuff that you're talking about, so I'll be okay if they do a lot more of that. I think that was a nice thing for me for a while with the Bayverse toys and the Bayverse Studio Series, is that I could skip those and not feel too overwhelmed. So yeah, I mean, if you're buying all the regular Generations, War for Cybertron Chug stuff, and you're buying the Bayverse, this probably does not feel like too overwhelming for you. But now that they don't have a movie or a cartoon show to sell off of, it's they're going to the bread and butter, which is the Chugster pieces. So here we are.
Yeah, like main character Clampdown and Cosmos.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong though. Like I'm enjoying it. The quality, the character selection, it's been fun. They have not been skimping on that. Like this behemoth right here is a phenomenal toy. So yeah, it's even with the repaints, like fucking Goldbug here and I've been showing them off already. The red Toy Deco Pterosaur. Like I love this toy. This is so cool looking.
Imagine if that Goldbug came out first, like before the Bumblebee. Like holy shit! Like everyone would be going insane because it's so awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It's really underappreciated at this point. That will change with time. I just never thought G1 Goldbug would get any sort of like proper toy.
Right. Yeah.
I just feel like he looks so much better than the Netflix Bumblebee does.
He does.
Yeah.
So Phil, Ron's asking if your sludge has the loose legs. Mine does not. The QC on mine's been pretty good.
I haven't had mine in robot mode for a while, so I don't honestly remember. Again, that kind of comes back to this idea that we've been getting so many new toys that I haven't been opening them and haven't been able to interact with them as much. My son, my boy's got a hold of Motormaster, and my 2-year-old was having the time of his life rolling him around in truck mode. And then I went to go put him to bed, and my 7-year-old took him and put him into combiner mode, and he's just been kind of sitting there like that for the last week. I haven't been able to mess around with him too much. So, yeah, I apologize. I can't tell you if he's got, shaky legs or not there, Ron.
Stank leg.
Yeah.
As Sergio would say. Stanky leg.
We got to get him back on an episode. Tell him to stop having fun with his girlfriend and come hang out with us Transformers nerds again.
Right.
Once he gets married, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Maybe
beg for time to go hang out with your Transformers friends.
Right. So I guess Paul, do you think that we're overloaded at this point, or do you think that it's a good amount?
There's a lot of stuff. I think the toy industry is just. I think it's bordering on too much, and I think it's indicative of the way the toy industry currently exists. And it's like, the staff at Hasbro I know is less than it probably has ever been in many, many years, and they're churning out more and more stuff. Like they can't, they have to make less per figure of more figures to like get even close to how it was maybe like even 10 years ago. So I think there's less Transformers in like per figure like on the market than maybe ever right now. But the way they're making up for it is by releasing many, many iterations and getting, and the collectors eat that stuff up. So hopefully for the brand, this movie is a slam dunk and like gets people re-energized into Transformers. I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I think, again, we go back to long-term versus short-term. They're very short-term decision-making right now. And I think long-term play is to just, from a movie perspective, they need to pause and redo it and start over and get rid of everyone that's worked on it before, start fresh. Get away from the Bay stuff. That's really risky. They have to. This movie has to flop super hard, like worse than Bumblebee, because they spent a lot more money on it. But they've had a whole extra year to like perfect it now. Like look at Top Gun. Like Top Gun, 2 years late, biggest movie of the year. I'm not equating this upcoming Transformers movie to Top Gun. I'm saying they've had time to do work.
Right. Yeah.
Like the Bumblebee movie, the whole all the stuff all the fans love is the Cybertron scenes. That was like the last thing they did for that whole movie.
Right.
They did it like after they like recut it kind of to put that in. So they kind of rushed that, and look how good that turned out. Like if they could really spend their time on it, they might have a hit on their hand. But if it flops hard, I hope that Hasbro pumps the brakes a little bit and gets some real creative people in there to like give them a long-term strategy, because that'll get
motion you were just doing.
Was that honk the horn?
No, you were pumping your hand.
Like going like I didn't mean anything. Yeah. So I just think there probably is too much, but I think they're kind of like sort of in a race to the bottom, and from a business perspective right now. But they still have what I consider the best brand in the world for toys. So hopefully they don't squander that.
I mean, I think, Paul, to your point, across the board, we are seeing kind of a glut. I mean, when you look at the toy aisles now, and it's just like being a Masters of the Universe collector, you're probably thinking the same thing. Being a Jurassic Park collector, you're probably thinking the same thing. Star Wars has cooled off a bit right now because you don't have a ton of media out for it. I say that as we just finished up at an Obi-Wan show and got Andor coming out soon. But, it is kind of funny when you think about that. When you look at like the toy aisle, like how much of that space used to be dominated by Star Wars, and I think like the smallest section when I see it at Walmarts and Targets now is what Star Wars is. And then Marvel's obviously the juggernaut that it is, just churning out movies one after another and all the merchandising that comes with it. So, there's a lot out there. And then you get like the really kid focused stuff like Minions and Lightyear that pop up and, fill up the toy aisle. So yeah, there's not a lack of things to choose from. And then the thing I was joking about earlier, like my son's like in the Bakugan and that's taking up a bigger chunk of the toy aisle. So there is a lot out there. Some of it's not for us, obviously. Some of the toys are still being made for kids. But yeah, there is a lot. It would be interesting to see if Toys R Us still existed, well, in the United States, what they would look like. Just like not the small local toy store, not the section in Target or Walmart of the toy aisle, but like what a full big box toy store would look like with all this kind of stuff that's out there right now. That would be interesting to see.
You got to keep the kids interested, or it's not or you're done. You know, like you
Yeah.
have basically put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Star Wars, like, I think that's part of their issue is they kind of overdid it. You know, with both the toys and the content, and I think people got kind of sick of it because they'd have their own aisle. So, but
I think to me, it's more if you look at to Paul's point, if you look at what's going on with Star Wars right now, the media that's coming out is not kid focused.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you've got the Bad Batch cartoon, but even that is, older kid focused that are maybe phased out of the toys at this point. So you get some media, like they just did another Star Wars Lego special that came out. And so, but that's going to push the kids to the Lego aisle, not necessarily to, you know, play school, Millennium Falcon, Star Wars toy.
Wouldn't it be weird if like Star Wars just sort of like faded away?
I don't think it will. They spent way too much money on it.
I don't think it could either, but I mean, it really could. Like big brands do have their day.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that Star Wars became so big is because like they made those movies and they were like, all right, and then that was it.
Catherine asks, is like, how will you feel if they decide to scrap it like Batgirl? And, the one thing I can't remember if we talked about this before, but Paramount, like, they really needed those. Like, they don't have a lot of large franchises, and so they almost kind of need those, they almost need Transformers more than Transformers needs Paramount, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because when you look at Paramount, I don't think the Halo thing took off for them like they hoped it would. They're milking the living daylights out of Star Trek. So yeah, they need some tent poles.
They're not making movies out of that. That's
No, you're right. You're right. They're doing the TV show stuff, but yeah, Paramount needs.
I mean, they're honestly saved by Top Gun, right? That Top Gun is Paramount, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it is.
But yeah, no, you're right. They need tent poles. Like Universal's got Jurassic Park. Warner Brothers has got Harry Potter. And even that's in trouble. And obviously anything tied to Warner Brothers is in trouble right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And now, I mean, at the same time, you never know. Like, you could get some studio exec that says, oh, no, like, we're not going to put the money into that and, pulls it. So I, never say never on some of that stuff.
I mean, there's people, we don't even have a trailer for Rise of the Bread. Yeah. When's that? Is that coming out this year? No. It's coming out 2023, right? Yeah. I mean, they're working on that right now as we speak. There are like probably legions of people doing computer graphics stuff and like decisions being made in boardrooms about how this movie's going to turn out and what they're going to do. It's wild.
So.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What PulseCon or New York Comic Con when we get a trailer for that? Or do you think we'll wait? They'll even like hold off to like Super Bowl?
I think that depends on how big they think it will be. Because it's supposed to come out in like June or July, right? I could easily look up the date, but I don't even care. Yeah. It's in the summer of next year. They won't do it. They're not going to do it at PulseCon. Like that is not.
No. Yeah, you're right.
That's not how that works. But I would say probably after the end of the year. I'd say in 2023 we'll see like the trailer.
I do think you're probably spot on. The Super Bowl's probably.
Doesn't the start of it take place in New York before they moved to South America?
I don't remember. I know they filmed it. They filmed it in Canada, but it was supposed to be a U.S. city of some sort.
Yeah. And so that maybe would tie into them doing something with New York Comic Con.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? It just depends. Like we don't know what like the vibe of this movie is going to be. You know, it's supposed to be Transformers 7, but it's a prequel. So is it before? It's after Bumblebee. So is it going to fit that? If it fits that Bumblebee vibe more so than the original Bayverse stuff, I don't see them doing a Super Bowl trailer. But if it's like Optimus Prime ripping faces and Scourge is a scary looking dude, like, yeah, they could do what they did with like Age of Extinction, which I remember being at a Super Bowl party and being like in the back. I didn't want to. I was like kind of freaking out watching it on the screen, but I didn't want anyone in the room to know because they didn't know. I was at a party where I didn't know anyone, so I didn't want to out myself as the major trans fan. So, but that was cool to see that. That like hyped me up, even though that movie sucked balls. Like, they know how to make cool trailers these days, and they do it. They can do it with Transformers is a trailer fest. So I think I'm gonna put my money on Phil's idea of it being a Super Bowl thing. But it depends on the vibe. If they're going for like a skirting rated R, then for sure. If they're going for a PG skirting G, no.
Is there any movie rated R anymore? They're all rated PG-13, right?
Yeah, but you know, they like want you to think they're rated R without being that. What was the Prey movie rated? That had to have been R, right?
I don't remember. It said like for mature audiences before it started, but yeah, there's a lot of blood in it, and it's amazing. And if you haven't seen that movie, get Hulu and watch that movie. That movie is so fantastic. I want to watch it again with the other dub version. I watched it last night, and just like I'm riding that high from that movie so much. I'm a big Predator fan, so that's probably my favorite movie of all time is the first Predator. And yeah, this one was. I had high expectations of this movie, and it delivered on all fronts.
Cool.
Zaldron says it was R, so there you go.
Yeah.
Or does Hulu even do digital movies released on streaming even get rated anymore? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Anna. Yeah, you're right. The movie is not officially titled Transformers: Rise of the Bread. It is Transformers Beast Town, USA. Sorry. Can't say it with a straight face.
There you go. Gotta go down to Beast Town.
Beast Town. Is it time to get that dog on the road?
Yeah. On that note, well, thanks guys for joining me tonight, and thank you to everyone in the chat. Thanks to Anna and Zaldron and Catherine and Ron, and thanks to Rich. Do we have any other? Oh, I think let's see, where
Jay Holla in the house.
Was in there
Ron.
earlier.
Paul Fromile.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh,
FYI, that's me.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right.
Not a trick.
Well, thank you guys. I was going to mention book club this week is going to be First Strike, Optimus Prime, and Transformers. So check that out. That is Sunday nights at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central on the TFYLP.net Discord. And then I was also going to mention too that there's a lot of great chatter in there. So if you want to discuss your favorite figures that you've picked up recently, you can come comment in the Discord or the Facebook group. Either one.
can I discuss my favorite movie came out recently? Because it's Prey, and it's awesome, and you should go see it. When you're done listening to this and watching this, go listen to this and watch it again, and then go watch Prey a couple times.
There you go.
There are only 18 main characters in Transformers.
Seems like a lot.
All right. Well, thanks.
Is Springer in that list?
Hell no.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye.